Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Let's just give it some time for some more people to join. How was yesterday's session? Was everyone who's currently on the call present in yesterday's session? What's your feedback from it? What were your takeaways? And your action points from yesterday's session? Um, we still have a lot of people yet to join the call. So we'll just go around to share while we await more people joining the call. But let me officially welcome you to day two. You're all welcome to day two of the impact-oriented software tester. And I'm sure if you were present yesterday, you had one or two things, key takeaways from yesterday's session. So welcome once again, and today promises to be another interesting time of learning and applying what you have learned, right? So let's reach out to our friends, let's reach out to our colleagues. We are live. And before we go around to take feedback, let's just give it some time for more people to join the call. So good morning and welcome to day two. Okay, so we have 16 people, 17 and counting, so I guess we can go ahead. Yes, welcome once again to day two of the impact-oriented uh, software tester. So I'm making our guests are already here. I'm just making co-hosts. All right. So before we go, I'd like to have a backup to avoid what happened yesterday. Boyinde, are you with your laptop or who wants to help record the session? Going day. It's going day on this call. Okay, who wants to go? Who's with their system and set to go?
Hi, William. Good morning.
All right, good morning. Come.
Yeah, we should be able to record.
All right, I've given you co-host. Okay. All right, great, great. So we have, like I mentioned previously, we have our guests on the call and ready for us. Just to provide a bit of context as to why this session is important, other than the graduates or the soon-to-be graduates from the software testing bootcamp we've had for about 5 months. We started since mid-January, so yeah, for about that long. Um, it was outside of it being a job preparedness kind of session, it was also to particularly address a conversation that I and one of the guests, our special guests today, have been having over time. And I hinted on it a bit yesterday as to how we see resumes, but it's not focused on impact. So it just focuses on what I do and not really on what the effect of what you do has on the business, right? So it's great for you to have the skill, but if you cannot say in quantifiable terms how that skill has boosted the product you worked on, maybe the GMV of the product, the customer retention of the product, the market reach of the product. If you cannot tie your day-to-day tasks, your skills to impact that it has had on either the company, the people you work for, the products you work for, the services you offer, then it shows that your skills, your person does not have any direct business impact. And every organization out there is in it for impact, either to raise revenue or get a top flying product or one thing or the other. But it ties to either financial or a business impact, right? And we see that over time, the testers struggle, me inclusive, because I mentioned yesterday also that I got to meet um one of our guests personally through the Ladder Tech mentorship program. He was my mentor. And that was when this conversation, I could say this conversation actually started from how do you measure your value? How do you measure, oh, I am good at writing scripts to it's not just about script writing and automation and me knowing APIs. It's my knowledge of APIs has done XYZ, has impacted XYZ number of people, has revolutionized XYZ products, right? So it's beyond the skills now. Is now how do you communicate how your skills have impacted the world, the organizations you work for, and the products. So that's what led to really chiefly led to this two-part series, and I'm so happy that it's coming to light, it's coming alive, and everyone on this call is able to participate. So yes, without spending too much time, I've spoken a lot and I apologize. So without spending too much time, I'm going to going to welcome our guests. We have two guests that will be speaking to us today. Our first guest, I'm pretty sure we are all familiar with him, is a known face in software testing landscape. Um, and join me to welcome Chibuzor Obilom. He's a software quality assurance leader with over 12 years of experience in software testing and quality assurance across fintech, regtech, edutech, health tech, and enterprise solutions. He has worked with major. Oh, my camera is not on. Let me turn it on. Apologies. Okay. So speaking, we have someone with 12 plus years experience. It's not beans, right? Okay, so let me continue. He has worked with major fintech companies like Nibs, Flutterwave, and M-Copper, testing critical nation and cross-border applications such as NIP. I know a lot of us have heard of NIP, right? Let me just read the profile. Let me not get too excited. All right, so for applications such as NIP, BVN, GSI, and Verify Now, he's a certified Nigeria's first Android POS and tested the biometric authentication API for interbank ATM and POS transactions. His expertise has supported financial institutions, government agencies, and businesses in making reliable, secure software products. Chibuzor's work extends beyond Nigeria, as his software testing expertise has been executed on products used in Ghana, Cameroon, Kenya, Zambia, Uganda, Ethiopia, Egypt, and South Africa. I really do hope that as I'm reading this profile, you are getting a thing or two from it, because I am already learning from the profile itself, right? Let me not get distracted again. But pay attention to the profile if you haven't. Um, he shares his knowledge through consulting and mentoring, helping QA professionals and startups refine their testing processes. His focus remains on improving software quality and ensuring that African digital products meet global standards. So, everyone, ANST, um, join me to welcome Mr. Chibuzor Obilom. Can I see the clap? Can I see the reactions? Yes, you're welcome. You can unmute to speak and welcome him. Chibuzor,
Okay.
you can feel free to turn on your camera if that's fine by you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, let me proceed to share my screen.
All right. You're welcome. All right. While you're doing that, I'm just going to quickly welcome our next guest for today. Um, our next guest is Jayne Badmus. She's a talent acquisition specialist, interview coach, and employer branding strategist with a passion for helping professionals stand out in a crowded job market. With years of experience partnering with organizations, particularly in the tech space, to hire culture fit talent, Jayne now also empowers job seekers to ace interviews and navigate job search with clarity and confidence that truly reflects their value. She currently works as a recruitment and talent manager for a tech solutions company. And what's her mission? To make the hiring process more human. I know when you hear more human, you remember ETS from yesterday, right? But her mission is to make the hiring process more human, intentional, and aligned for both candidates and companies. So, ANSC, once again, let's welcome Jayne Badmus to the call. So, Jayne, feel free to turn on your camera and we will be all set to go. So, let's.
Okay, let me see.
Hi,
Yes,
everyone.
share the screen.
All right, welcome, Jayne, and welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah, please give me a minute, please. Some people have issues joining the call. I want to reshare the meeting link. Okay, all right. Apologies. Let me just cross-check with the one I shared. All right, all right, all right. Great, great. You're welcome. You guys have turned off your cameras again. Why, why, oh, why? Let's behold your beautiful faces. All right, so we'll be starting with my Oga. like I like to call him because he's my oga. 12 years of experience is not beans. So, Mr. Chibuzor, yes, this conversation has happened for a while. And it's great that we're actually having it now with a broader audience so that we would learn a thing or two about impact and measuring impact. So the first question around this is why is impacts why should we be able to quantify impacts? Like what's in it for software testers and why is this important?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I thought I was going to do a presentation.
Yes.
And
Okay,
I
this
have your why, answer to your why,
in it,
to
or
your why in it, right? So we're going to talk about hold on for me a bit. I'm using something I've not used before, so which is risky. I don't do things like that, but I'll do it for AMST. Can you see my screen?
it's coming up. Yes,
Okay,
up.
it's up, right? Okay. Show your work, how to quantify and showcase your value as a software tester. This is me. You can search for me on all social media handles with that handle, social media platforms or channels or whatever you call it, with that handle. And that's my website. So I'm a software QA lead at Passpoint. This talk seeks to break down, how you can spot impact stories from your day-to-day work, measure and attach metrics to your efforts, link your work to business outcomes, tell the story in ways others can understand and value, right? Because you are not just validating features, you're not just validating, verify, validating, you are protecting the product, right? You can drop things in the comments, although I'm not able to see them. But this talk is, I don't know, but I'll call it revolutionary, right? Because it took me 12 years to get here. It took me 10 to 12 years to get here, right? I just knew that there has to be more to being a QA person. Already, there is some sort of thing, which is on my slide, that we have to go against, right? We are seen as the harbingers of bad news. We are the people who tell the truth to power. We tell the truth to people, right? You give me a software and you assume that that software is good to go, but I'm telling you it's not good to go. So already that comes attached with some human psychology and human behavior and human reaction and all that, right? If you want to be seen and heard and trusted by your manager, by your team, or your C-suite, right? So this cuts across ICs and managers and leads, right? You need to do more than file bug reports or write test cases. You need to quantify your impact. You need to show how your testing protects revenue. I'm going to be saying things you've not heard before, right? So just write it down. First of all, I've said that you are protecting the product. So I'm giving us new jingles or new taglines or new chants or new mantras, right? You are protecting the product. You are protecting revenue. You are reducing churn. And you are preventing unnecessary outages, right? A recent survey showed that 88% of software testers feel undervalued, underappreciated, and overlooked despite the value of their work. You're a software tester, you know the value of your work. You know, apart from the efforts, yes, you put effort into it, right? But you know what you're protecting the company against. And it's like a chicken and egg situation where you are protecting the company from bad things, And because of that, they've not experienced these bad things and they feel like you've not done anything. On the other hand, if they experience those bad things, well, they may value your work, but they will now blame you. Will say, why I was not tested, right? So it's a very funny place to be as a career person, yeah, where you know what you bring to the table, you know what you do for this company, like you know how you don't sleep at night, you know how you're walking on the street or you're driving and then an idea for how to test an application pops in your head. Well, I'm not saying that other people, other roles in the companies don't do that, but yeah, this happens to you, and there seems to be like an asymmetry between that and what you get in terms of attention, in terms of reward, in terms of what's it called, appreciation, right? And what are we covering today? First question that Udeme asked: why should you quantify and showcase your value? Sounds like a no-brainer, but may not be a no-brainer for quite a number of people. And there are different reasons, right? It could be you're burdened with work, you're not even happy with the career, you have been served breakfast multiple times, and all that. Where do you find this impact to quantify? When do you look out for impact to quantify? What do you look out for as impact to quantify? How do you quantify impact? Ooh, this is a typo. Should be, how do you showcase impact? I'm sorry, guys. I slept by 4 a.m. yesterday doing these beautiful slides, so I'm still feeling groggy. But we do it for the love of doing it, right? You'll be hearing value, impact, value, impact, value, impact. What is value? Value is impact plus times attribution. So you have to do impact, and that impact has to be attributed to you. So this means that you can't just leave it to chance. You can't just leave it hanging. You can't just say, they will know. They will know I did it. No. If you are involved in the process of what this talk is going to introduce us to, there is no way, yeah, your scent will be on that impact, right? So why should you quantify and showcase your values? Number one, to prove relevance to business. We are relevant to business. I posted something as a rider to like my post for this event, but then I'll just take a big go back, right? So have you bothered to ask why? Yes, you may have asked why, but these are just some of them. You need to prove the relevance of QA to business. And all of what we're doing, show your work. Show, don't tell. Don't tell them, show them. Don't tell them, we are doing this for the company or this. Show it to them, right? Some people would say, what's it called now? You'd also see that, when companies are trying to do layoffs, they want to push out QA people first because they don't understand the relevance. And you have to show them. You can't assume that they know. You can't assume that they understand. And also, you're on a mission, right? You need to earn trust and influence with other people you collaborate with in the company, right? PMs, devs, BAs, even C-suite, VPs, and whatnot. You also need to differentiate your work, right? You need to quantify and measure, quantify and showcase your impact to drive your career growth. You also need to shape strategic decisions. Companies trying to make a decision, right? And because QA is just a quiet team. They just go about their business, and all that. Yes, you might just be one person in your company, and all of those things, right? Even being one person in your company is a strategic decision, right? And I will chip something here. Please, if you're a QA person in a company, you need to be doing what's it called? You need to be doing presentations. So this is what we did, this is how we did impact. If you are presenting what's it called? If you're presenting at the all hands or a meeting or whatever, you need to be impact driven. Also, you need to improve your practice. So they say what doesn't get measured doesn't get improved. So if you're just living, just wake up every day, go to work, go to the mosque or go to the church, and then come back to work, and you're living like a linear life or at most a triangular life. Maybe you go to the club or you go to what's it called now? To the bar, or you go to somewhere else. Just giving examples, trying to make it put across right. How do you know you're improving? How do you know you're improving? You won't know you're improving, right? Last one is to secure resources. Oh, we want to buy these tools, we want to pay for Blaze Meter, we want to pay for this. And if you are not showing your impact to the business, they will not give you budgets. That one is sure. Or your budget will be small. Right? And these things are not automatic. You have to do them. So where do you find impact to quantify? Plan scenarios. These are expected sources of impact to quantify. KPIs, OKRs. They may be quality related, they may not be quality related. It could be maybe the company's goals, could be the product group's goals and all that. That's impact for you if you participated and you contributed to meeting those goals, right? Or those KPIs and OKRs. And let's say OKRs, right? That's impact for you. And they may be quality related, may not be quality related, right? Also, quality metric targets may not be the case across everywhere, but when you have quality metric targets, that's a source, that's planned. You know where to get these impact stories from. And then implementations, right? Unplanned scenarios are unexpected sources of impact to quantify. Imagine tasks and requests. Somebody tells you, come and help me do this, come and do this. Either they are QA related or not QA related. Don't let it just, I am the ombudsman, I am the fixer, I am the person that rescues the team. And then it has become your toga, but then you cannot milk it. You cannot milk impact out of it. Record it, man. You have to always be writing, always be documenting. Then it could be beyond quality. It could be internal hackathons in your company. It could be self-initiated projects, right? You see a problem in the company, you have some time on your hands, and you can deploy your skill. There's a skill match, right, to that problem. There's a skill problem fit, right? Might not be 100%. But then you just initiate it yourself and you run the project and you impact the company. Yeah. So I'm focusing on implementations because of time. All of these things you can actually dive. I don't like using the word deep dive. You can actually go deeper into each of them, but I want to focus on implementations. So there are opportunities for impact lurking within the critical flows of your implementation. So let's start with critical flows. Let's do 80-20. Let's do priority, right? But I'm not saying that you should look all through your implementation. No. But look at the critical flows. Especially for people that do automation, right? Those things you automate, those critical flows you automate. And I'll go into details, right? A few critical places to find opportunities for impact within your implementation. Pain points. Parts of your implementation where the customer's pain points are aggravated or dissipated. The place they're always complaining about, right? And then you find a bug and that sorts it. That's impact. Customer access, parts of your implementation where the customer gains access to the product or a feature. If there's a bug there, if there's a showstopper, and it may not be only showstoppers, maybe improvements, maybe usability, right? Maybe accessibility, maybe performance, maybe it takes what's it called? A long time for that page to load. Then paper trail, parts of your implementation where the money flows, especially for fintechs, right? Where customer makes payments or receives payments. Also benefits, parts of your implementation where the customer benefits, where they are happy, where you wow them. When do you look out for impact to quantify? End of projects, either they are quality related or not quality related. Quality related, I will also give examples. For example, you want to implement a test automation suite, which is popular. And I've seen CVs and people are always saying the same thing. That's one of the reasons why I am doing this work, right? I want to give you options. I want you to have the opportunity to differentiate, not I implemented automation test this that cut diseases by 25%. No, right? It could be it could also be code review, like you are reviewing the test code routinely. I did that one time and I slashed the test code lines of code by 30% because there were repeatable parts in the code, right? It could also not be quality related, it could be team related, be company related. It could be okay, probably, like even like the personal example, one time I worked in my team, we worked on something that was logging people out randomly, right? I did my QA part, but we saw a 98% improvement in an internal metric that led to, in that period, because people had to make repayments of loans, but these people are not educated by default. And even from the flow that happens, most times is the agents that have their passwords. So if you're logging them out unexpectedly, they might not remember, they typically will not remember their passwords. They'll wait till the next time they see the agents, right? And it means that days would have passed without them making payments, their loan repayments, because, and then they couldn't use their phones to make those payments. So we found out that in that period, I'll also tell a story about this. If I don't tell a story, please let me remind me. I discovered that in that period, there was a bump in loan collections when we fixed it. It was like an increase of $100,000. If you put this in your CVs, right, it's not just only QA. Yes, there's a QA part, you have to balance it, but how would you help the business, right? The other metric part, I will explain it when I tell the story, right? Then there are incidents, especially incidents that happen in pre-production. And it's funny, but post-production incidents gets everyone's attention, resulting in some sort of frenzy, right? And even when you do the RCAs, although RCAs are not done in most companies, RCA means root cause analysis. The fixer of the issue that led to the incident gets most, if not all, of the benefits. So everybody's production issue. Yeah, you can get some impact story there if you are the person that found the bug. So if you have a process or a practice of routinely testing production, right? But most times it's customers that see these incidents, right? But you can also get that. But I'm not saying you should abandon post-production incident, but I'm saying you should also look at pre-production incidents, because people are not really hovering around like hawks or vultures trying to, either blame somebody or, get this done another. For production incidents, like you find a bug or something happens before you move to production, it's usually very calm. But these incidents benefit the tester, right? If you find bugs before production, What you can do to take further steps to do an RCA, if you don't do it before now, do an RCA, document the course. You take further steps to do what I call a BIA, business impact analysis. I just coined that one. How did that thing that you found that did not enter production, what did it save the company from? Yeah. So what do you look out for as impact to quantify? Primary sources are like quality metrics, more on this later. Efficiency gains, I reduce time by 25%, I reduce man hours, I reduce work hours, I reduce the efficiency. Your test used to run for so and so time, now it runs at shorter time, right? Scale indicators, size of team, size of business. I led a 5-man team. Also size of the tech. There's a way you can quantify the size of your tech, right? Size of your business. So, for example, if I'm working in a QA company that is $1 billion, $1 billion company, right? That's to humans who like big things would say, oh, that person, is quite more impactful compared to a company that's making, let's say, $100 per year, $100,000 per year, right? Then there are secondary sources, right? Secondary sources are, if you saw my post, I said that according to standard accounting and organizational structures, QA is seen as a cost center. Why? Because our primary or our default is not to generate revenue, but we can also affect revenue that was generated, the amount of profit that was made. I gave an example earlier, right? And then there's growth percentages, month on month, quarter on quarter, year on year growth in anything. Means that you have to be tracking. Our job is like a full-time, it's a Swiss knife job. Like you're just doing many things. But you can be doing many things and not be doing the things that will lead to many things. What? Okay, quality metrics. I said I was going to talk about quality metrics more, right? Around product stability. It could be, I'm not saying that these are the only quality metrics, just give an examples, right? Default escape rate, percentage of bugs found in production versus total bugs. Product incidents attributed to QA gaps. So this tracks how often missed test coverage leads to issues. There's also release quality and confidence. That's rollback frequencies. I think I have this it in my CV when I was in NIBS. Typically, I don't even experience rollbacks. I don't know. I think it's the grace of God. But I don't experience rollbacks. I don't know. Mean time to detect, how fast QA identifies isolated bugs after deployment, automated test coverage of critical parts. This is
I just wanted to quickly chip in for some people, you might not know what rollbacks are. So when your team has done some degree of work, because there are some members of the participants that are fairly new to QA, so that's why I wanted to put a pause on that to quickly explain. So once your team has worked on a particular feature, a piece of work, or a fix, and then you've tested that fix, or you've done regression, you've done all the forms of testing you were taught, right? And you have certified it's fine. That work is then deployed to the live environment or production where end users can then see it, right? Most times after the deployment, if there's any issues that begin to happen after that deployment, so a regression issue that has started happening, maybe you worked on forgot password, and that was the only feature you deployed, but now people cannot log in again. So that new deployment has broken something else and has affected live users. So the typical thing is that the engineering team will do a rollback, meaning they will cancel the deployment. So we moved that piece of work to production. A rollback means take it back out of production, take it out of production. So that's what rollback means. It means that forgot password feature you worked on, let's roll it back. Let's take it out of production so that things go back to how it was before we added that new feature. So that's what rollback is. Sorry, boss, you can continue.
Okay, back to the matter. Automated test coverage of critical parts. So yeah, I see some automated, but you can drill it down to the percentage critical flows covered by reliable tests. And then there's also the release readiness score. It's a composite metric. It's based on pass rates, like combination of pass rates, test coverage, open defects, etc. And then there's also test and process efficiency, right? Test depth ratio on written and outdated test cases versus expected coverage, cycle time, the number of time spent when you receive the build to test completion. Also, QA bottleneck flag rates, how often QA delays the sprint or release. If you improve these things, right? Examples, right? Those are example of quality metrics. How do you quantify impact? One example is by evaluating your KPIs, OKRs, and quality metrics at the end of an appraisal period. This is fairly standard. The only thing I'd like to add here is that if you are not recording, if you are not documenting, you will not have anything to evaluate. I plan to, in the future, talk about career documentation, how to tie to your work. It's still fuzzy and scattered in my head, but in sometime in the future, I'll talk about that. How you make it compulsory that you are documenting, even if you don't like to document. These days we have voice AI and transcription tools. You can just speak into something and if you don't like to type or write. But then there's after you find the bug. I don't know if the person is here, but there was someone here who posted on LinkedIn that she found a bug. I think that was one of the triggers that got to them to get me to have this talk, right? She said she found the bug. She was excited. And to be the normal QA party or pooper or show spoiler, I asked her that, okay, after you found the bug, what else did you do? After finding a bug is a good time to extract impact. You milk it, you milk the impact. You know the way they milk cows. You extract it. You know the way you lick oranges. You lick the orange till it's there's no more sap in it or juice in it, right? And when you find a bug, you ask yourself the question, how much cost was saved in terms of revenue, in terms of profit, in terms of budget, in terms of time, in terms of man hours? How much loss was prevented? I'll also give examples to this, right? How much loss was prevented? By how much did metrics improve? And this could be failure success rates, download count, conversions, DAU, MAU, which means daily active users or monthly active users for SaaS or software as a service / application. So your company is offering your software as a service or an app to many users. So PMs like to track DAU and MAU, right? TPV, total payment volume or process volume, GMV, gross merchandise value, NPS, net promoter score, or whatever. So I've talked about quality metrics by the side. These also metrics that your team or other teams track that affects the business. So this is like a buffet. This talk is like a buffet, right? You no longer have only one thing to track. You have many things. So far, I think we have covered up to like 20 things now, if not 20 or 30 or more, right? So I'll give an example of a prevented loss and saved cost. So for example, on your app, people sign up, right? On your app, but they need an OTP to either sign up or complete the transaction. And there's something wrong with that OTP. You found out a bug before or after production, pre or post production, right? So let me just give you something, right? So for me, this is how I think about it. Let me look at signing up. I'll say, okay, for us as a company, for this product, how many people sign up a month, right? How many people sign up a month? So let's say we say 100 people sign up a month, right? No. So I'll say how many people attempt to sign up. So we say 1,000 attempts, right? From 1,000 attempts, 800 people get, 700 people get to sign up finally and come to the portal. Meaning that 300 people drop off. Okay. A month. That means in a year, let me use round numbers, 500 and 1,000. So in a year, we have 12,000 users attempt to sign up and 6,000 sign up, right? Okay. But then we've had, what's it called now? This OTP failure happened this month and it happened 100 times. We can assume that it means that 100 people, yes, I know they may not be unique. I know they might be repeated people we trying. But it's safe to assume that it means that 100 people this month could not sign up. It means that 1,200 people this month could not sign up. I'm still going somewhere. Then you ask your product team, okay, out of the 6,000 people that sign up, what's our conversion rate? Like how many people finally get to put money into our system or where we get some profit from? So they could say 50%, right? 50% means 6,000. Remember, 12,000 a year, 6,000 finally sign up, and then 3,000 people get to give us value as a business. That means that, okay, we can say, okay, from the 1,200, let's also apply the same 50% and say, okay, that means we lost 600 people. We lost 600 people who could have signed up. Sorry. We lost, oh, come on. Okay, we lost, so let me take it again. 12,000 people sign up, 7,000 people attempt to sign up, 6,000 people sign up, 3,000 people give us value. But then we had 100 incidents of people who couldn't sign up because of OTP failures this month. We can extrapolate that and say, okay, 1,200 people could not sign up that would have attempted to sign up. And out of them, 600 people would have stayed. So I now ask again, what is the value per user that stays? What is the value? What value each of them give to us, right? Sometimes they'll just give, it could be a total value divided by whatever, and they can say, okay, you know what? Each customer gives us 1 million naira in a year. 1 million naira times 3,000 is what? That's 3 billion naira. 600 times 1 million is 600 million that could have come to the business that the business would have lost if you did not find out that OTP failure early. So if that OTP failure, yes, and I'm using OTP because it's visceral, you can feel it. But at the same time, it could be something that may not be discovered by everybody, right? There's saved costs. Finding a bug that prevents users from completing KYC despite successful BVN call. So you pay 10 naira per BVN call. But there's a bug that after you've called BVN and your company has spent money, they still don't sign up. So let's say you do 100 naira. Let's say you do 10 naira per BVN call and you have let's see. Um, uh, let's say it's $10. Let's use dollars, right? And let's go back to 12,000. 12,000 people attempted to sign up on your company's app, on your app, right? 12,000 times $10 is how much? $120,000 that your company spends, but not for any other reason as free willpower to not continue to sign up. Your app has a bug that prevents them from completing that sign up. So your company spends 120,000 on BVN calls without getting, so let's say the failure rate is also 50%. So that means 6,000, your company spends $60,000 without people completing KYC, wasted. And you found that bug. And that bug happens 1 in 2 times, 50%. Right? It happens in 1 in 2 attempts. Meaning that you've saved your company the value of $60,000 they would have lost after paying for BVN calls that users did not finally get to sign up, not because of their own choice, but because of a bug. You can see how I've described all of this. This is actually the process. And it could be more rigorous than that. So how do you showcase impact? I think we're getting close to the end. Common ways QAs showcase impact on their resumes. Improved regression speed by 40%, enabling faster releases. Reduce crash rate by 25% across Android devices. But the way it is put, it raises questions because it's not detailed. I improved regression speed. How? What was done to improve the regression speed? What was done to reduce the crash? Right? And there comes a formula, an action verb plus a task, a project, or any other thing. That's why I put miscellaneous there, plus metric or results. And this is an example. I built a test generator that saved the QA team 10 plus hours per month of test data generation. Not saying I saved the QA team 10 hours. You understand? It's not complete. Another example is I caught a bug that would have cost a loss of $50,000 in affiliate revenue. Right? Thank you.
Wow. The way it ended, I was not expecting it to end like that. I don't know if there's anyone else on the call that feels the same way. I feel thank you so much, Chibuzor. This is a lot of rewiring. I'm speaking for myself first because I'm also learning. So feel free to chime in and drop your comments and ask your questions if you need any clarity. But I feel this is a lot that I need to rewire, find places to apply them. There's some that CV worthy. I'm speaking for myself again. There's some that CV worthy. There's some that interview that you carry as an arsenal for your interviews, for your one-on-ones. There are some that you quantify and are postable on social medias. There are some that are not because of company policies and privacy. But I'm already seeing, like you said, you mentioned so many ways and so many possible permutations and combinations that you can apply this to. And I'm already seeing some of them. And this is big. This is huge. Thank you so much, Chibuzor. Thanks a lot. This I've seen a question about the slides. I'll just drop the Slido link again for those who may have joined late. If you joined the call while Chibuzor was speaking. I've dropped the Slido link again for you to ask your questions. But wow, this is amazing. Thank you so much, Chibuzor, for sharing these insights, for sharing this, and the examples are great. You mentioned some key things in the course of the presentation. So it means that QAs need to actively be in the business of knowing their organization's performance, their product's performance. You might have one product you are manning, or you might be manning maybe just the Android version of that product. You need to know about the metrics. You need to know the GMVs. You need to know, you mentioned a lot of terminologies. You need to know the performance, the number of active users on that arm of the business that you are manning. You need to know the month-on-month growth or month-on-month customer retention. When you have your team meetings, your town halls, or whatever they are called in your organization, your monthly meetings, you need to know what the customer service said the top issues for that product was. Note them down, streamline them to, okay, what areas do I need to intensify testing efforts? And then the next month, check the customer service report again and compare what was the difference between last month's reporting, the new approaches I took to testing that particular app, and the impact in this month's reporting, right? Don't just see the slides and they just come and they talk. And most times we are distracted doing something else. That's where you get, that's where you milk all these metrics and all this value and impact. And I've picked that from here. Thank you so much. Please, there's a Slido link. If you have questions, please do well to post them on the Slido link. I see 2 questions already, so I'll take those questions first. The first question is on the slides. How possible is it to get the access to the PowerPoints so we can go through it again? I think there's a need to go through it again. I am personally going to go through this again and find areas to apply. But Chibuzor, the first question is for you.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand my outline into articles, right?
Okay.
So like slides are just, you know how slides are now. They're like high level touching information here and there. So I'll expand the outline into articles in different places and post them and share them with my ANST.
Okay. But
because I think I would reuse these slides somewhere else. So I don't want to share them.
Oh, okay, we get that. So how soon will we be on the lookout for that?
So let's just give me like a week or 2 weeks. Right?
Okay.
I'll write an article on this post. If you follow me on LinkedIn also, you see my posts, right? Yeah. That's what I want to do because I think that I think I would speak on this somewhere else.
Okay, that's
I'm just being truthful, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. That's completely understandable. And then there's the recording of this, so we could reward the recording while we wait for those articles that will come with further explanation, further examples. I know we just saw 2 examples which were quite apt. So yes, those will come. All right, thank you. So next question is, I need a reporting template, or is there a standard reporting template, especially during sprint review? This person might need to expatiate on what you mean by reporting templates. Is it that you don't have a test report in your organization? Are you the only tester? Are you new to software testing? Are you talking about a test case report? Or what exactly? You need to provide details on that, right? Manual test reports, or like you need to like provide extra details for that.
Yeah, and to add to that, right, Google is your friend.
Yeah, good. Yes.
Google is your friend. Perplexity is your friend. So use them to your advantage. Use ChatGPT, turn on your search. and drop your questions inside. There are some questions that you should not be asking in 2025. It's AI. So you drop it there. There's something else I wanted to say. Then another thing again about templates in my career is I no longer chase templates. I can create a template at any time. So if I go to a new company, I just create templates. So you need to understand the I don't want to say the spirit now. You need to understand the idea or the concept behind those templates so that you can always create these templates. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Next question quickly is, I'm a manual software tester. I currently feel I am not being visible as I only pick up tickets on QA column on the Jira board. So what do I do to be seen?
I think that's the essence of this.
Of the whole,
Well, it
yeah.
is. Let's assume that the person did not
Join
join.
late, yes.
So the advice would be to go and watch the videos. But just to drop something right, you need to start sharing what you understand about testing, either formally or informally, right? You need to. So if you're a junior, it might be difficult. But what you can also do is to be a journalist or to be a curator, right? You can curate people's understandings. You interview people in your company. What do they understand about QA? You get all of that and then go and research, right? Some of them might be wrong, some of them might be right, and then use that as the ones that are right, so it's not like you're stepping on, messing up a person's parade, right? The people whose understanding are correct, you expound them so you have something to say, right? Some other thing that comes to mind is offer to demo the product. Demo the product. Offer to lead the retrospective, right? Don't just be that guy that just stays in the corner, and because people treat you how you show them to treat you. So because you're already giving that vibe, and there are two parts to it. There's the part where that is what they expect, that is what they know. And there's the part where that is the vibe you are giving, right? So breaking out of this mode, settle two things. If that's how they do things there, you are now showing them newer ways to do things. If that is the vibe you are giving, you are now breaking that vibe, right? So you need to show yourself as somebody who can do more than tickets. Another thing again is you can also offer to. I'm saying this because I know that we have a spectrum of people here. For the people who are the higher up in the spectrum, you can offer to join a developer in debugging, right? Offer to join a developer in debugging. If you're not junior, you can just say, I just want to be on the call. I just want to see how you do it. It depends on how open people in your company are, right? Before you know it, you are learning, and then the person might skip something, and you call the person, but you forgot this, and that's how you gradually start to build that. I don't know what to call it. Try to build that thing where they see you and they know that you exist and they know that you are more than Jira.
Thank you so much, Chibuzor. We'll quickly run through the following questions, but I hope you guys see how practical it is. It's not just you updating the status in a test column. It's far beyond that. You do so many things when you join the team, and your projection is important. So I don't want to go over. You have said a lot, right? I'll take the next question. How do you measure your statistics if you're just contracted to build the product and give to the client but not manage it? I think everything we've said also applies to whether you're just building, if it's a one-off, if it's a contractual agreement or a full-time role. You are delivering a work. You are doing something on the day-to-day. I don't know if you see the lines between what Chibuzor has elaborated. Pick your day-to-day tasks and milk them. Milk the every effort you do. So you're working on the project for X number of months. You're doing something on a day-to-day, right? So all that he has said can be applied, but I'll just leave Chibuzor. I don't know if you want to add to the question. How
Yeah, yeah. So as a contractor, right? So it depends. Because you might not have people, you might not have exposure on certain information, and they might not want to expose that information to you. So maybe you might just stick to quality metrics that you've set for yourself, right? And forget the business metrics or non-quality metrics. But then if there's a way you can try and ask you shall be given, right? Ask, just attempt and say, this thing that we do, how much does it make? Then let them tell you that what's it called? You're a contractor, you're not supposed to have that information. And then what you do is, there's no problem. I focus on my quality metrics. Simple.
All right, thank you. Next question is, how do you pivot as a QA who has not built trust in his or her organization?
So, this is funny. So why are you running away now? You know that's the meme that says, why are you running? Why are you running? Have you tried to build the trust and it was rejected? If that is the case, and then maybe the company is toxic and all that, then you start looking for another job, right? But if you've not tried, then try. I think it's a worthy project for you to try to see how you can gain trust. And how do you gain trust? You gain trust by being a human to other humans. You are not one annoying, cranky QA person, right? You are helping them. You are telling them. I remember when I went to Florida, I told the developers that I've come here to help you people. Please, I'm not here to fight. I'm here to help. It's a team. We're a team. We're here to, when the team succeeds, we all succeed. That kind of lingua or kind of mantra, right? And it also comes from your language, from your behavior. How friendly are you? How quick are you to jump on, help people? A developer says, I quickly want to push this thing. Oh, yes, it was not part of the plan, but you just, okay, let me do it, right? So still try to build that trust if you've not tried. And the answers to the last question suffice, right? Absolutely. You try to go out of your way to see how you can build that trust, either technically or relationally, otherwise.
All right. So by the last question, you mean the last question on Slido, meaning the tester missed a bug on staging and he found it in prod and reported, but was accused of not testing at all. Is that the last?
That's the company's culture now. That's the company's culture that's speaking, and you just overlook it because you know what you know. You know that it's a learning experience for you, right? You now know how the company sees QAs. Yeah, you can try to evangelize and do some presentations here and there, have some promotion here and there on how it's impossible to test everything, right? I did a post about that some months back. Yeah, even if they deduct it from your salary, it's as bad as that. Well, it's a learning experience. If you want to leave the company, fine, you can start plotting your way. You can also stay, and I won't say fight for your rights now, but you can also stay and try and give it a shot, right? There's this joy that comes when you turn around situations, because the place you are running to, how are you sure that that is not the same mindset that they have?
Or worse?
Yeah. Or worse mindsets, places that you go to, you are just one QA working with hundreds, 40, 30 devs. And they won't tell you. They won't tell you, come and join our company. They might even have a mantra, this and that. They might even be popular online. They might even do videos, and then you just enter, and you don't know that you were dropped in the valley of the shadow of.
Work.
You were dropped in the valley of shadow of something. You get so. Yeah, except you maybe you know somebody in that company that's worked in the company, but then how many people
To
do
be
you
honest.
know? Not even that, how many people do you know have worked in all the companies that you want to work with, or all the companies that you interview with? So there's a limitation. How many years of experience do you have? Have you worked with 100 people closely who are now working in 100 different companies? So think about it, right? Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Chibuzor. If you have any more questions, please leave it in the Slido link, like we previously said, and that would be fine. I just wanted to remind you of the question, the story you wanted to tell us.
So
And
the story, yeah. So the story was okay. I mentioned a bit of it. So what happened was that, like I said, people were being locked out, surprisingly. So you had to work on the token and session management. And I worked there as a QA. I was part of the architectural process. That's how open my team was. You ask questions. Yes, it'll be. And the thing is that the more you interface with developers or engineers with their terms, and then if you pad it with you going to even learn some system design things, right? You understanding what they're saying the more, right? You event-based architecture, this and that, and all that, yeah. So the team was like a back-end team. So we don't, or even during sprint reviews, we don't always do demos. We do demos once in a while because what we do is what supports the app or supports other people that the customers benefit from. So we don't build direct features that they do. We are not building the loans, or we're not building all of that, right? And we're presenting, I just sent a message to the PM that please, we need to milk this thing. Like we really have demos. And you're telling me that we had 90% reduction, 50% reduction. Please, this is entering my CV by force, by fire. I will not let this pass me by. I will never let you go. Right? So, and this to get this thing, to show you how these things, I had to work with a PM. I had to work with another PM, and she had to contact customer service. But we missed a window because I was telling her that because the impact story will have been more than that. But we missed a window because I was telling her that this thing must have been sending tickets. So I needed to know how many tickets on a monthly basis coming as a result of this issue. I needed to know the cost of man hours for the customer service team. So by that, I would know how much the company is spending to solve tickets that we just solved. We just eradicated by 98%. So, and this thing took a long time. It was not 1 week. It took like almost three months to get this sets of impact stories right. So I pivoted, and you always pivot. You always think, oh, there's okay. Even if I'm thinking, I'm trying to think about this thing this way, and then I remove the roadblock. I pivot. So I said, okay, if I can't get, so there were two things I missed. I wanted to get the daily active users and monthly active users, and I wanted to get the manpower that was saved, but I couldn't get two of them. So how did I pivot? From the daily active users, I pivoted to amount of loan repayments that came in that month, the increase. So I had to go and meet another PM and tell him that please, I beg you, please help me. Something I want to put on my CV. This is and that, and all that, and all that. And that's why you need to have good relationship with everybody in your company, except the people that are say that you are good, that are sworn to be your enemies. But yeah, and he went to bring out one report, and we saw that there was an increase. in that month when that fix was done, and that increase continued. So I just picked that increase, right? It was close to like $100,000, right? Then for the man hours that we missed a window to get, I pivoted to, I said, okay, you know what? What about licenses that are paid? So we pay Fresh Desk. We pay Fresh Desk for the customer service people to be able to log in, right? Okay. So if we pay that's how I can't even remember how I calculated. I calculated to what I got to, we saved around $2,000 to $5,000 in what's it called, in license costs for the customer success team. So that's the story I wanted to tell, right? And what I wanted to bring out the story is that it shows how expansive this thing can be, right? It can take you to where you don't know. It can take you to where you wanted to go to. It can involve you. Okay, I'll give another example. The team had not gotten to product market fit. They were pre-seed, and they wanted to do something. They were doing something that you had to do KYC. And the KYC is on two parts. There's the part where you do the biometric KYC, and there's the part where you do the document KYC, right? And I was hearing them talking about, we need to do a third-party integration, this and that. I said, please, how much do we have that we want to now start buying third-party? Let's build a portal. People submit the documents. We have our compliance team and people check the documents and approve and activate the account. We're not launching like Zap. We're not going to have 1,000 users, 1 million users sign up. We're going to have like trickles, and then it starts to increase as we market. And as I saved, I put in my CV, I saved the company so and so amount that we will have spent on a KYC tool by suggesting, scoping, and managing the implementation of that in-house tool. Yeah. Another example is, for example, now currently I'm trying to find out how much money we have processed from day one, and how many virtual cards we've created from day one. I want to have that figure in my head every day, at least every quarter or every month, right? Another example was, so I found a bug. So what happened was that the platform is supposed to sign up merchants who sell tickets. So if the merchants buy the plane flight tickets from the portal, they get it at normal rates. But then they can create a profile and people can buy tickets through the merchant's profile, but at a rate that you add money to, like it's sorry, my brain's. So the merchant will add money to it, maybe add extra 10 naira and all that. But from that extra 10 naira, the company is getting money out of it. And then I was testing and all that, and then I started testing, I don't know. I just found out that the field that will collect that charge from the merchant was missing. So I said, okay, how do I get impact from that? I get impact. I now went to ask the co-founder. I said that, please, what was our projected sales for this affiliate thing? And he told me in naira. I converted it to dollars, and then added some money on top too. To make it I rounded it up to the nearest whole number. Yeah, those are the stories that I wanted to tell.
Thank you so much, Chibuzor. Thanks a lot. I know we're far out of time, and we still have the personal branding session, but everyone, please let's give our reactions and say our thank yous to Chibuzor, and has communicated will provide further. He would share in the community. So if you are not a member of the ANSC, you might miss out of the articles when they are ready. So please do well to join the ANSC if you are not a member. I'll be dropping the link in the channel, so ensure that you fill the form and you'll be the response will be reviewed and you'll be added to the channel, and then you get the inside scoop once the articles are ready by Chibuzor. So thank you once again. We're moving straight on to the personal branding session. Please, let's see. Jane, please don't be upset. Like Chibuzor said, have mercy. So we're going straight into personal branding. If you took anything from yesterday's session, one of the things that Vincent mentioned was that you should be marketable. And Jane is going to be showing us how to personally brand ourselves. And without spending much time, over to you, Jane. Hello, Jane.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chibuzor. That was an awesome section. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's just go straight to it. I'll be sharing my screen now. Just confirm you can see my screen.
It's coming up. Yes, it's up.
All right, thank you very much for this opportunity to take this session. It's going to be a quick one. So we are just going to go straight to the tips for today. So we'll be talking about personal branding for course. I'm going to skip the introduction, of course, I've been introduced, and we'll be going through some resumes. First, we'll be talking about personal branding, what it really means, why does it matter? It's not just for you as a software tester, but for everyone, professional. You must have your personal brand. There must be a branding. There must be a way you tell it to people out there, this is who I am. This is who I want you to perceive me to be. Then the second point we'll be talking about is the branding tips, particularly for testers. Then the third, we'll be doing some resume critiques and questions and answers. So straight into it, why does it matter? Why do you think you need personal branding? Not just as a tester, but as a professional, as as a professional in software testing. Why do you need personal branding? So now, branding is not just for influencers. You know, there was a time I used to think that when I hear personal branding some years back, I'll be like, oh, for content creators, for professionals, therefore for influencers, for those that want to be out there, right? But this is 2025. It is no longer for influencers, no longer for content creators. It can also be for you as a professional, especially as a software tester. If you want to be seen, if you want to be out there, there's a way you have to brand yourself, right? It's a competitive job market. It's a competitive job market. You are not the only software testers. We have software testers globally. We have people who are coming up. We have people who are still joining. We have people who will still join, right? So there's competition everywhere. And it's 2025. Your brand equals your reputation. So you have to be able to put yourself out there and brand yourself in a way that you will be seen, right? Times have changed. It's not like before. So another point is the reason why it matters is because recruiters now check everything. Recruiters check everything. I personally work as a recruitment and talent manager in my organization. My CEO will always tell me, have you checked the person's LinkedIn? We are looking for mobile engineers, or we are looking for developers, or we are looking for testers. Have you checked the person's LinkedIn? How is the person's LinkedIn? How is the person's this? How is the person's that? So these are the things like we look out for. When we open your resume, the first thing we are seeing, after we check your resume, the 7 seconds glance on your resume, The next thing we are checking is your LinkedIn. What is there on your LinkedIn? How did you brand yourself on your LinkedIn? What are the things that does your work experience on your LinkedIn, does it align with your resume? Or what are the things you are posting there? How do you brand yourself on LinkedIn? So these are the things we are checking. We're checking your posts, checking your engagements, all of these things, right? How do you talk about your work? How do you talk about your progress? It's not just you don't just um you don't just become a senior software tester, right? There is process, there is progress, just like Mr. Chibuzor, 12 years experience. Imagine having 12 years experience. He has gone through a lot, the process is there. And now he can boldly say, yes, this is who I am. I'm a senior in this field, right? So we want to see your progress, we want to see the process, right? That is why it matters. It's not just something that you'll be like, oh, does it, I can skip this. No, you cannot. You cannot skip it because, of course, we all want to be not just seen, we want to be hired, right? You want companies to see you. You want better companies with good employer branding to see you. Some of us, we have companies that we're actually looking out for. I have a friend who told me that, oh, is looking out to work with either InterSwitch, PalmPay, OPay, all of these big fintechs, right? So we have dreams, we have goals. Even if you are working here, I'm sure this is not where you want to stop. You have dreams, you have better places you want to be, right? So this is why personal branding matters, right? So what is personal branding for you as a tester? So I'm streamlining this to our field, to what we do here, not just as a professional now, but as a tester. The first thing is your story and your value. So when Mr. Chibuzor was talking, I was agreeing to what he was saying because, of course, there must be impact, right? So we want to see your story, we want to see your value. How do you show up? So I used to say that it is very important to always post. Now, I will pick LinkedIn because LinkedIn is where you can find recruiters that are looking for candidates, right? If you ask any recruiter now, where is your go-to, except aside the normal job boards that we have, if you ask any recruiter, where is your go-to job board or where's your go-to platform to look for professionals? They will tell you LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is one platform that is the first on any recruiter's mind, right? So I would pick LinkedIn, create content on LinkedIn where recruiters can find you, not just within Nigeria, but globally, right? Anybody, and that's the power of LinkedIn. As long as you use hashtags, right? Anybody can find you. And there is consistency. Anybody can find you. Anybody can just pop into your DM. Anybody can just pop into your comment section, right? Your story, your value. You want to see how you show up. Now, as a beginner, what was your story? What made you transition, right? As someone who has been in software testing for 3, 4, 5 years, how has been your story like? What are the challenges, right? These are the things that we want to see, real life challenges and how you're able to overcome them. Honestly, some of these things that you post on LinkedIn, by the time you send your resume to a particular recruiter and he or she goes to your LinkedIn profile and you read some of these stories, these are some of the stories we are going to see too. Like immediately a callback, you get a callback immediately, and that callback is for more explanation, want to know more, right? We are interested in the candidates, not just in your skill, but in you as a person. How did you overcome your challenges? What is your value? Now, I always tell people, right, try as much as possible not to be generic. Just sit alone in your room and think about it. As a software tester, what is my value? What is that thing? What is my strength? What's that thing that I can signify and say, yes, this will be my strength. This is what I will sell. This is my selling point. You must be able to have a selling point. You must be able to be authentic, have a selling point, have a story, right? The next point is it's how people experience your skills and personality. Like I mentioned before, we want to know you. We want to know how you experience, how was your experience, or how is your experience going in software testing? What were the challenges you faced? How did you overcome them? These are the things that we're interested in, right? We want to also know how you show your wins. So I'm still talking about, it still boils down about posting on LinkedIn, like putting out your story on LinkedIn, right? This is really very important, and make sure it is consistent, because consistency wins the game. It's all about consistency. Consistency wins the game. So if you are bothered or you don't know what to post, oh, I don't know what to post today, I mentioned that you can create a content calendar. ChatGPT is your friend. Just create a prompt as a software tester. Or my name is so and so. I'm a software tester. Major in, some software testers, they believe that you must be good in one particular aspect, whether performance testing or the likes, right? Major in so. Create a content calendar, a 30-day content calendar for me in this field, right? So ChatGPT is going to bring out different content calendars on how you can position yourself. Talk about your wins, talk about your achievements, talk about your mistakes. So whether you are starting out as a beginner or you're already there, maybe a few years there, and you're already working, it's the same thing. As long as you are looking forward to better chances or better opportunities, right? Talk about your wins, your achievements, your process, your problem solving skills. These are the things we want to see. These are the soft skills we want to see. You don't just put it on your resume and say, I'm a problem solver. How do you solve problems, right? There must be the process. Carry your pitch for an interview on LinkedIn. So it's part of posting. You post your process, your achievements, your problem solving skills. There was a bug that you solved, or your team collaboration skills. All of those things, put it out there. If you think people are not seeing, forget the fact that you may not see comments. I used to get affected by that. I say, oh, I don't see it. My post does not have comments, so I don't have comments. But the truth is, people read what you post. People read what you post. People are following you. You never know a recruiter that might be following your process. Your day one, your day two, day 15, day 16. And it's like, oh, I love how this person is coming up, right? So these are the things that are going to actually put you out there. So I generated 3 C's of personal branding. Clarity. First off, know what you bring to the table. I mentioned earlier that you have to sit down, speak to yourself as a software tester. What do I bring to the table? These are the things you are going to tell during your interview, right? Not just on your LinkedIn, but of course, you are going to explain during your interview. What do you bring to the table? Why should we hire you? Those questions, what's your value? What value? What do you bring to the table? So you should be able to know what is my strength. I do better in this field, right? So number 2 is consistency, like I mentioned. Consistency on LinkedIn, portfolio, your communication on LinkedIn. There must be consistency, right? Number 3 is credibility. Share proof. Your projects, your testimonials, your certification, your webinars. I used to tell people, do not um, overlook webinars. Webinars like this, don't overlook them and say, oh, they're just webinars. No, you need them. They need to be on your LinkedIn. They need to be on your CV. Yes, because it's a kind of, you tell us that you are open to learning, right? It registers in our brain. Oh, this person is open to learning. See, webinars, seminars, right? So your credibility is part of your credibility, your insights, your projects, the projects you've worked on, your testimonials, all of these courses, online courses you did, post them, put them out there, right? So personal branding audits for you, checking my time. So does LinkedIn show your niche, your specialty? What you base on, what is your niche in this field? Performance testing, manual testing, automation testing. What does your LinkedIn show? Do you post or engage around your domain? QA, automation tools, all of those things, post and engage. Does your resume speak to real results? So that's why we'll be doing resume review this afternoon to see if some resumes we have, if they actually speak to real results, impact, right? That's what we want to see. We don't want to see generic, this thing, I improved 20% of this into this. Okay, how did you do it? There is no how. It's just generic. You cannot get better chances at callbacks with that kind of resume, right? So personal branding audits, your headshots, your headlines, your LinkedIn bio, recommendations, all of these things. If for LinkedIn bio, you can ask ChatGPT. This is 2025. ChatGPT is your friend. As a software tester, tell ChatGPT all about you. Then ask ChatGPT to create a LinkedIn bio for you. Put it on your LinkedIn. Find a very wonderful headshot. Put it on your LinkedIn. Then ask people to recommend you, whether your colleagues, your friends that you've worked with. Ask them to ask for recommendations. These are the things we see. When we see recommendations, be like, oh, it's a plus for your LinkedIn profile, right? Highlight tools, but do not stop there. Show us how you used them. All the tools you use, show us how you use them. Show us how you are growing. We want to see your progress. Set open to work. Now, this particular point, there's been a lot of back and forth on it. Setting open to work, don't set open to work. But personally, as someone who use LinkedIn Recruiter very well, I use LinkedIn Recruiter, and there is a place there where you can configure to search for candidates who use open to work, who are open to work, right? So there are some recruiters that, of course, they don't just want to message candidates that are working already. There are some recruiters that actually want to poach, headhunt. But while you're headhunting, we don't want to go through the stress of looking for people that are already engaged. We want somebody who needs to work, who has that time to work for us, right? So you can configure it to say, oh, okay, I'm looking for candidates who are open to work. And it's going to bring out candidates who have that open to work, this thing. So, but then if you want to set open to work, make sure that it's visible to only recruiters. There's a way you can configure it on LinkedIn that you can set open to work visible to only recruiters, so that wherever they are, whether they are using just LinkedIn or they are using LinkedIn Recruiter, they will be able to see that, oh, you are open to work, right? The next is network. Network with people, engage in conversations, join groups, network with senior colleagues, network with your colleagues, network with tech recruiters, not just recruiters, network with tech recruiters, network with developers, right? These are the people in your field that can be of help. And also, finally, engage in conversations, engage in posts, where you see posts. And one thing LinkedIn algorithm does is when you are posting in your field over time, then the algorithm is going to start bringing people who actually post in your field. So you'll be seeing similar posts. Engage when you see similar posts like that. Engage, you say your piece, right? These are the ways you can build your personal branding. You can actually stand out. These are the ways you can put yourself out there and say, yes, I am a very ready candidate to be hired. Thank you very much on that. That's all I have on personal branding. I'm looking at my time. So for next 10 minutes, I'll be reviewing resumes. I have about 3 resumes here that I'll be reviewing. So what I look for in a resume as a tech recruiter, number one, your formatting. How does your resume, how is it formatted? Right? If your resume is jam-packed, or you have all of the details clumsy and in one place, it is really hard for us, especially we sometimes we don't use ATS. And I can tell you that at least 60% of recruiters in Nigeria, our employers don't have money for ATS because ATS is not free, right? Our employers don't have money for ATS. They want us to do it manually, right? So most of us actually view resumes manually. Imagine you have 60 resumes in your email, in your inbox, and you have to review all of it. And as they're coming, you have to review, and you know that more will keep coming. So the first thing we see, there's this 7 seconds glance. We check the formatting, check the achievements, check all of the important details we check. And if that resume is not actually passing that 7 seconds glance, we move to the next. I apologize, that's not good enough. 7 seconds is not good enough. But then you can't blame us. Pressure, right? Aside checking the LinkedIn and all of that. So the second one is relevance. Third is impact. Achievements. Clarity. Let us see if it is clear enough. So let's go straight to it. I'll be reviewing. Yeah, I have one open here. Yes, so from here to here is very nice. So there is this insider secret I used to share. Try as much as possible to tailor your resume to every job. Every job, tailor your resume to it. For every job, there is a job description, right? So for that job description, try to tailor your resume to that job description. The reason is because it increases this is a generic resume, right? So tailoring your resume to that particular job increases your chances of callbacks. Why? Because you are able to pick out some of the keywords in that job description is going to be on your resume. So one quick thing you can do is the professional summary. Let's say, for example, you see a software tester job, right? So instead of putting, and you want to send your resume, instead of putting quality assurance tester here, just change it to software tester, the same job title, right? It's the same, right? You might say it's the same, and does that mean? Yeah, really, it doesn't, but seeing the same things we put out there can increase your chances, right? So your professional summary, you can just copy it, ask ChatGPT, very simple. Please create a professional summary. Copy the job description also. Paste the job description on ChatGPT. Then you can create the prompt, create a professional summary that aligns with this job description. So it is called summary, right? By the time you send it to ChatGPT, what it does is gives you that professional summary that has the keywords embedded in that job description. So it's there. By the time we are reading professional summary, we do not actually read, but the scanning, we're able to see some of the keywords. Now, your skills and competencies. So I used to say skills and competencies instead of putting just skills. Now, the reason is because the psychology behind it is in our technology is, it's great. By the time you start using recruiters terminology, we use competence a lot. Competency, is that person competent? So when we see it on your resume, it gives us that we want to read more, right? You can copy your skills and competency, right? Ask ChatGPT. All of those on that your job description, pick out some of the skills there or some of the tools that they expect that you should be able to use. You can pick them and put them here. Let it be the first things they are going to see. Man, playwright, all of those things, let them see it first. If those are the tools that are there on the job description. Now, after skills and competency, you can decide to, add your education, that's fine. Plus, but please do not add your secondary school information. We know you went to secondary school. Maybe your master's, your BA, that's fine. Then before work experience, all of this certification, it has to be here, up here. These are the important parts of your resume as a tester that we need to see. So in case any recruiter is scanning the 7-second scan, we're able to see those things at the top. Your skills and competencies, your certification must be up here. You can decide to put your education anywhere, but your certification must be up here, right? Then we need your projects and achievements. That is very important. We do not want to see generic answers. Your projects and achievements, those projects you've worked on, your achievements, the things you've done, right? So also, under your achievements, you can add, I mentioned earlier, you can add all of these webinars. It just shows your flexibility, your always ready to learn attitude. These are some of the soft skills we are looking for. Team collaboration, ready to learn, always eager to learn, right? We see it there. And add your projects, the projects you've worked on. You do not necessarily, for confidential issues, you do not necessarily have to like put the particular, if you feel like it's confidential, you could if you want to, but if you feel it's confidential, maybe the particular application you worked on, if you feel it's confidential, you can just put it, maybe it's an e-commerce application or a gaming app, all of these things. But let us know what you did. How did you impact that particular application? What did you fix? How did you do it? Right? Same applies to your work experience. So you cannot just say created test cases for new product developments using Excel. What products? How did you create the test case? So you do not have to even have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even if it's just 3 we see, but you're able to explain how you did it and what you did. What was the problem? How did you do it? What did you do? You conducted user acceptance testing with the product owner. and with other stakeholders to ensure the alignment of the software. What software? You tested various software on various platforms. What platforms? What software? You tested various software. What software exactly? On various different platforms. What platforms? Different devices. Which device? Web browsers. Which browser? Right? Please be authentic. We want to see your specific work, right? We want to see specifics on your resume. Do you understand? So same applies to all of these things. Don't forget, your certification should never be here. The last thing that should be here is your work experience. That should be the last thing here. Now, reference could be is optional. You can decide to add your reference or not. Right? But that's not really what we are looking for. If we need reference, we'll ask you, right? But the important things should come up, right? So your skills and competencies, this is fine. After your skills and competencies, bring your certification up here, then add your projects, right? So I'm done with this. So also, like I mentioned, do not forget to tailor your resume to every job description. It's not easy, looking for a job, seeing a job ad, then trying to tailor your resume is not easy, but it increases your chances. That is what it does. It increases your chances. Instead of you sending just generic resume, it increases your chances for callbacks, right? So yes, this is good. This is good. So your profile, awesome. This is good, but always tailor the resume. The skills and tools, awesome. But whatever skill they are looking for, whatever tool they are looking for on that job description, make sure they are the first things that should be here. Now, put out your technical skills separately from your soft skills. Your soft skills is very important, also very important. Time management, analytical thinking, excellent communication, team collaboration, right? Then, like I mentioned, your skills and competencies, whether you want to add skills and tools, fine. But make sure you're awesome. I can see projects here. So now, like I mentioned, make sure it is really specific. You conducted this testing to verify if the functionality, what exactly is it? What is the product? So now this is generic. We do not know what product you are talking about, right? So if it is not confidential, we would actually like to see the product. But if you feel it's confidential, fine. But let us know what product. What are the things you did? How did you do it? You identified UI UX inconsistencies. How did you do that? Right? So your projects, you can put project and achievements. So your achievement could be this webinar you just attended, right? Your achievement could be the seminar you attended last week, right? That could be part of your achievements. Your achievement could be all of the online courses you've been taking, part of your achievements. Now you can decide to put certification. After projects, you want to see your certification, especially when you're applying for the 4-5 years experience. If it's entry level, of course, we would understand that you are just coming up, right? But then at the same time, we want to see what you have done. You learned somewhere, right? We want to see where. So your projects and achievements, then your certifications, all of these things need to be up here. Then your skills and competencies, your tools, we need to see them up here, right? Then you can come up with your professional experience, quality assurance intern. Okay, this is awesome. This is an entry level resume. It's an entry level resume. Awesome. Awesome. So all of these things we want to, okay, I can see a link here where I can click. Fine, wonderful, right? But make sure it is really specific. Make sure it is really specific. Additional information, your education, well, that's fine. Additional information, passionate about learning, actively contributing to. Okay, that's optional, honestly, because I'm not looking for additional information on your resume. What I want to know is how ready you are to learn. So what I want to say to this resume is an entry-level resume. So you will need more. We understand that, oh, you started learning June 2024, right? And you say you already know this, all of this, that's fine. But then we want to see more of your soft skills too. Already you have to learn if you're flexible, right? Because if you be applying for entry-level positions, especially during interview, you must be able to show your readiness to learn, right? Because honestly, coming from me as a recruiter, if I am to hire an entry-level tester and I see this, first thing I'm going to ask you, all of these things you put here, right? Your projects, you are going to tell me about them. You say you automated end-to-end e-commerce. If you want to tell me about them, right? So I guess I'm done with this. So be ready to always, another thing is be ready to always defend whatever you put on your resume, right? We don't want to see something else and we are excited. Oh, let's call this person. And you come for your interview and they ask you, okay, you said you conducted an exploratory test to verify the functionalities of a particular website. Can you tell us how you did it? And then you're saying, oh, okay, I wasn't the only one that did it though. I joined the senior software tester to do it. But you said you conducted the test. You conducted. So please, if you are not the one that conducted the test, it is better you show it on your resume that you did it with, right? That you did it with the team. Or you just say something that you actually contributed to. But if you did, fine, you should be able to, speak for it. I also have this is my third resume. Okay, so this particular resume, there's something I want to say about this. Make sure your resume is, another thing I want to say is do not send your resume in doc, in doc format. Try to always make it PDF format. That is better. And make sure your resume has compartments. Make sure it has compartments. Always put your address is not here. Okay, Lagos State, or maybe a particular place in Lagos, Aja, Lagos State, right? You don't have to put the name of your house, the number of your house, number one, Ajale Koko Street, off this thing close. No, that's not necessary. Just let us know where you stay, right? Your address. So your address is not here. If you're doing all this CV, your address is not here. You have to put your address here. And also your CV must be in compartments. This is like jam-packed. Don't forget, there's always a 7 seconds glance. Glance, 7 seconds. What are the things I want to pick here? Right? So please do not forget. I'm going to mention again in case you're forgetting. So if you not take anything, there's no takeaway from this particular session. Take this particular thing away. Try to tailor your resume to every job description. The reason is because you are picking out the keywords on that job description. You are infusing it into your resume. And as a recruiter, if I see a particular keyword that I'm used to, right, or that I put out there, I'm seeing it on your resume, it increases your chances of me calling you. There will always be a callback, right? So put your summary, everything. Let there be a tailoring, especially your summary and the tools, right? So the owner of this CV has to compact this CV. There has to be a compartment. There has to be this line. Can you see this line that demarcates each of the sections, right? So please try to find another format. If you need a format, I can give you a CV format that has compartments, right? Try to demarcate. And your tools, your tools and skills, like I mentioned before, the most important things on your CV as a software tester, your skills and competencies, your certification, your tools, then your projects, the projects you've worked on, right? Let all of these things be up here. By the time I open your CV, I want to start seeing it from summary. I'm seeing your tools, I'm seeing your skills and competencies, I'm seeing the projects you've worked on, I'm seeing your certification and achievements, right? I want to see those things. Then I can now start going to, that has already, watered the ground of my heart, watered. Next I want to do is to look through your professional experience. Okay, you did this, you did that. But make sure you do not just write, oh, I led ants training on functional and regression testing exercise. Which exercise? How did you do it? How did you lead hands-on training? Right? I delivered comprehensive training sessions. How did you do that? I manage end-to-end API testing for payments backend channels on this. I designed this. Make sure it's as specific as possible. That impact, let it be there, right? So I guess I'm done. See, can you see this person's project? Imagine it's a 7 seconds glance through, right? Before I can see this project that you write down here, before I can see all of these certifications and training and your project, time has gone. I'm already probably getting bored with your executed, automated, and I'll just be like, okay, this thing is as generic as anything. It probably has other generic stuff down here. And the next thing I do is check other CVs. I can say, oh, I'll come back to it. I used to do it. I won't lie. I'll check CVs and I'll be like, oh, okay. Especially when I have CVs like this that they don't have demarcation. I'll just say, okay, okay. Designed, this thing is too generic. How did you do this now? How did you do this? Okay, I'll come back to it. Let me check another person's CV. And the next thing, I'm checking someone else's CV. And before I remember that I have to come back to this, I already called 3, 4 persons. And I'll be like, okay, let me work with these people before I continue with this. So just increase your chances, right? Increase your chances. I think that is all for today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes,
So
that
much,
is all.
Jayne. Thank you. I'm really, really grateful. I'm grateful for the time and the detail you've taken. Thanks for the structure and the format. I know yesterday's guest also went through one of the series you went through today, but you took time to provide the details in terms of structure, how it should, in what order it should come in, the room for formatting and all. And thank you so much. I know we're fast spent. We've taken significant time today, but I'm sure it was all worth it. The 2 sessions have been greatly impactful, a lot of takeaways, and a lot of things to act on, which is very interesting. The great thing about learning is you have something to go back and implement to make what you already have better. So there are a lot of takeaways, and we're very grateful to our guests. Thank you so much, Chibuzor. Thank you so much, Jayne. Thanks a lot for sharing your time, knowledge, and expertise with us. ANST, Emergence Team, Intermediate Team, let's give it up for our guests. Let's show our appreciations. I've dropped their LinkedIn profiles in the chat. Please do well to follow them. You can continue the conversations and questions you might have with them. I know there are 2 questions for Jayne on Slido, if it hasn't gotten to 3. 2 questions. Both are on the 7-second rule, right? I would suggest that we take it because of time that is fast spent. We can reach out to our guests on LinkedIn. Their profiles have been shared, and we can continue the conversations, get more clarity if you need any. You can tag them on the WhatsApp channel for members of ANST. They are on the channel and they are eager and willing to help. So you can tag them if you have a blocker implementing your takeaway. You can message them and I'm sure they would respond. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of today's session. It really has been impactful for me, to say the least. So see you guys next time. For the students of the ongoing software testing bootcamp, some announcements would be dropped in the course of the weekend. You either see it directly after this call or maybe latest tomorrow. Once again, thank you for spending your time with us and do have a lovely, lovely weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Chibuzor. Thank you, Jayne. Thank you, Udeme.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Samuel. Thanks for joining. For those who are recording, now is a good time to